Hello my lovely language learners, I hope you guys are having an amazing day. So in this video I am going to answer a very important question. The question is, how relevant are books in this modern day and age? A lot of new language learners, they have a question that should they even be using books right now because we have apps and video courses and things like that. Well, in this video I am going to answer it all. First I am going to explain the advantages and disadvantages of using books right now in modern day and age, and how relevant are books to use right now. So let's get started. Now let me clarify something here. When it comes to language learning books, I am talking about books that are designed for self-teaching. Let me explain further. Books that we used in school were supposed to be used by a teacher, and he should be teaching us. And if we have questions, we ask our teacher and he explains as much as possible. Self-teaching books are supposed to be used by you alone, by yourself, and they typically come with other type of material also. For example, you buy a teach yourself book, you also get audio CDs. Nowadays audio is online, so you buy the book and you go to website and download its audio. Even nowadays other things like video material is also available with the books. You buy the book and go online and to the website of that book, and you also study the video material that is relevant to those chapters, and it just helps further with language learning. But mostly it's audio. So when I say books, I'm talking about self-teaching books that are designed for people that they can use alone without the help of a teacher. Just keep this in mind. With that said, let's go to the advantages and disadvantages of using books in modern day and time. Let's talk about the good stuff first, the advantages of books. So the first advantage will be pacing control. What is pacing control? Basically, when you study a book by yourself, you can study it at your own speed. If you have difficulty in a particular place, you can slow down as much as possible. If it's very easy, you can go fast through it. And the stress involved in studying books because of pacing control is just very minimal. So this is the biggest reason I love books so much. You can just study at your own speed, and other type of resources from classroom to self-study resources like videos and audio, they don't give the type of control that books provide. So I really like this part a lot, pacing control, and it just really reduces the stress. Okay, so the second point will be books are very cheap. I mean, I find books at very low price. I mostly buy used books, and when it comes to used books, you can even find it like $1 or $2 and even free. So like nothing can beat free. For example, this book Le Français par la méthode nature, I bought this book 100% free. This book was created in 1950s, and copyright is no longer an issue. You can simply download it, and you can buy physical copies. Now many people have stolen his work because, like I said, copyright is no longer an issue. But it is available for free in the form of PDF, so why not just use that? And also its audio is available for free. You can search it on YouTube. It is spoken by native French speakers, and yeah, you can use that to study. So, and this is what I did. I used the YouTube audio along with this book to study this book. And yeah, so like I said, books can be very cheap and even 100% free. Number 3, focused learning. Books are the least distracting of all other resources. You can really get lost deeply in your studies. On the other hand, if you are using something like apps or other types of resources, you can get distracted by other things. And books, you can just quietly study and you can completely focus on books. And this ability of books I just really like. And it really optimizes the language learning process. On the other hand, if you are using books, you will get distracted by other things like notifications, and you will check it out, and there is wastage of time, and you just cannot immerse yourself in the language properly. So books, you can really focus on your learning only, no distractions. A little tip: if you are studying from a book, put your phone on silent if possible, because really, trust me, if you can avoid distractions and forget about everything else and just focus completely on your book and your studying, your progress will be very good. Books are the only resource that covers the entire language spectrum fully. Let me explain. If you are a beginner, you have books for beginners. If you are intermediate level, you have books for intermediate level. If you are an advanced level, you have books for that too. If you are very advanced, there are books too. There's a version of language that is only found in written form of that language. People don't speak it. Well, it's in books. Then you can, if you want to study colloquial language, street language, there are books for that too, and things like that. And in other resources, you just cannot find that. Let me explain this a bit so it will be more clear. Okay, let's take audio courses for example. If you study, let's just say you started your language studies directly from audio courses. You are going to come into an issue. The issue will be is that you will realize that these audio courses are much more difficult than other type of resources. That's because of lack of visual material. And even when you find the right type of resource as a 100% beginner, because I have seen it, you realize that you just forget it very quickly. And that's again because of lack of visual material. And unless you go completely crazy and keep studying, that's another thing. But most people I know that study languages, they don't revise a lot. I mean, people revise, but if you only want to study from audio courses, you need insane amount of revisions. And I know most people just don't do it. Almost all people I know, they just don't do it. And audio courses can be difficult if you use it, and all this because of lack of visual material. And you will just forget it after some time if you don't practice it a lot. Let's go to another example. Let's just say you guys decided that you want to use video courses. That's fine, video courses are great, they have lots of visual material to help you learning with language. But there's a version of language that no one speaks. It's only in written form. And as far as I know, none of the video courses, as far as I know, they have that version. Or it is only found in books. Maybe there is a video course that teaches this, but so far I haven't found it. So in that case, it becomes a problem. Now, if you are learning the language because you want to talk to your Russian grandma or Chinese grandma, that's fine. But if you are learning the language for academic reasons, this becomes important. You need to learn that written version of the language, which is only done in written form. So now back to books. You can find materials for beginners, intermediate, advanced learners, colloquial speech, the written form of that language, and other things. You can find it all in books. Other resources don't have this. Like many other things, books also have their own disadvantages. And the first disadvantage of books will be that they are the least interesting resource out of all other types of resources. So a second disadvantage will be that books don't really work right for children. Let me explain. Children are very visual learners. They see, they repeat, and they learn. It's just how their brains are. Children up to 13, 14, 15 years, they are like this. And if you buy a book for them, it might actually not be a very good resource for them because children have difficulty learning from books. And if the goal is to learn the language as fast as possible, then books will not be very efficient for children. An app or a proper video course will be much better for children. So books for children, I would not recommend. So the third thing would be quick studies. Basically, when you are walking on bus or standing, sometimes not even sitting, and things like that, books might not work right. Me personally, I just cannot study a book in all those noise and while standing and things like that. On top of that, carrying a book everywhere with myself is also annoying. Well, now there are people who can study in noise and public without a problem. I'm just not that type of person. And many other people I know that study, they also require some level of peace and quiet to study properly. So that is a disadvantage. If you can study in public, sitting in bus while people are crashing on you, and you also don't mind carrying books everywhere with yourself, that's fine. But if you do, then well, it's a problem. Now you know the advantages and disadvantages of books. Here is my review of language learning books and how relevant they are in modern day and age. Keep in mind, this review is coming from a person that have learned many languages before and still learning languages using different kinds of resources. This includes books also. In modern day and age, I do not consider books obsolete. In fact, books have now evolved. You now find audio and even video courses attached to that book. And the biggest pro for me is that you can study book peacefully in a quiet place at your own speed. This really decreases the stress, and there are no distractions with books. You just keep studying and get lost in it. This is a very big advantage of books, and for this reason I still recommend books as a main study resource. And if you are studying a language, I recommend to use books as a main study resource. It just makes language learning so easy, so less stressful. With that said, I want you to also keep in mind, while books are a very powerful language learning tool, if you only rely on books, there will be problem. At later stages, eventually you have to start speaking. If you do not speak, you will never ever properly learn speaking. There are people who have been learning languages for 10, 15 years and they cannot speak. This is how my English was. I was in college, yet I could not speak English. I could read it properly, but speaking was not part of it. And if you do not watch videos and listen to podcasts or whatever and things like that, then your listening skills will be very weak also. So make sure to use other types of resources too to supplement your language learning. It also boosts your language learning. So use book as a main resource and other resources to further boost your language learning. Also keep in mind that when you guys are choosing books, make sure to choose the right book at right level. If you are a beginner, choose a book for beginners. If you are intermediate level, choose a book for intermediate, and similarly advanced. If you choose the wrong type of book at wrong stage, it will cause problems. It will just become very difficult for you to study and you might even quit. And if you guys have any other questions, feel free to ask in comments. I might even make a video from it. And with that said, I will see you guys again.